Alright, so welcome to our channel. This is a video that's kicking off the beginnings of the channel. This is a segment we call, and just only started, called Discord and Discuss, where I get a couple of my friends online onto Discord and, well, we discuss everything related in the geeky and nerdy realm of entertainment. I have a few friends over here today. I'll be introducing you to them. Firstly, my name is Harish. I'll be introducing you to my friend Jack over here.
Hello.
I have a friend over from New Zealand called George. Say what's up.
Hello.
Discussing some pretty recent topics in terms of the realm of video games, especially some new titles for the superhero genre. So we all know, as of past few days, E3 has been going on. It's been ongoing, of course. And I just got off of watching the Square Enix Presents. Honestly, it was quite tiring because I had to stay up till 3 a.m. So my sleep was lost. And pretty much what we'll be talking about today is the Guardians of the Galaxy game that has just been announced and being made by Eidos Montreal. We'll be also talking about the Black Panther DLC and what it helped and its future in terms of the Avengers game, and we know that its current status isn't so good so far. And we'd also like to chime in and discuss on what Marvel games or superhero games in general we would like to be made. So, onto our first topic being that Guardians of the Galaxy game. So, what are your thoughts?
It looks. I don't know what else to say apart from that. It looks really good. It seems promising so far, but I suppose we don't really know much apart from a quick 10-minute video. But there's a lot to unpack. They've gone for a certain approach. They've got like a third person going, which I think was a great idea. It's story driven, also very good. I think they're steered away from their multiplayer kind of failures with Avengers, which that's probably a smart idea. um, but I also think that there was an element of choice, a bit like the Telltale games of Guardians of the Galaxy we've seen in the past. So I don't know if that's going to be for better or for worse at the moment.
Give my honest opinion. It does look it looks really good, really good. And I also like how with the story thing you can like make decisions and that alters the storyline, you know? And then how like when it showed Peter was telling Drax to throw a rocket, that affected his relationship with Rocket. I like how they added that. Oh no, I was also wondering, is it you can because what I've seen the game from the gameplay footage is only you're playing as Peter Quill.
Yeah, you could only play as Peter Quill. There's no other playable characters.
All right, but I mean, from what we've seen, I'm pretty excited for this. It looks pretty good.
My 2 cents on it. Me personally, I guess there is some push and pull factors for me. I think one of the pull factors being, I think, which is pretty prominent in both your statements, I think in George's, is that this is a good departure from Avengers because Avengers was kind of literally a bad bonfire, and even with its release, that the game has been off to a rocky start, and right now, even past that, they have been making some half promises and delaying so much content now. But I think with this game, they're not focusing on. It's not a game that's conflicted with itself. Is it this or is it that? It's straightforward with the point. It is a linear story, and it's pretty much the decisions you make are literally going to make or break your relationships and pretty much your external environment, I suppose. I would like to also say that I really like the art style. I think it pops, and if any of you want to chime in on that, I think like when they showed like even the beginning shot of that planet where it's just like radiant pinks and these like really light blues, it really just gives off that feeling that this is a galaxy. A galaxy isn't just black and just a bunch of stars, I suppose. It's a vast place.
Like you said, if it is just going to be planet to planet where you just go on a path, but I'm hoping to see some sort of open world or accessibility with something like that. I think it would work really well.
Okay, so this YouTuber I watched, Greg Sanders, he said that this game was in development since 2017, and this has been happening since 4 years now. So for me, I feel like maybe during that 4 year period, they could have had the resources. I'm just saying this right now. I know I can't speak for a gaming studio, but maybe with what happened with Avengers, it made them go back to the drawing board a bit, where they say, okay, we have to step back a bit on certain things for this game because it didn't work for the last game. and it's all about that. How do we improve on our mistakes where we made them, kind of thing? Because I feel like maybe this is me had that feel. I'm a bit cautiously optimistic in terms of the character designs because I feel like the character designs really stand out compared to like Avengers. I get it because like Avengers was like your discount MCU characters that you loved, and they just all with this Guardians game. It's like you could duplicate your movie counterparts, but then it takes away that kind of like sense of like originality, which I think this game is really doing. It's like the fact that though these characters might look like their movie counterparts, there's a sense of originality in terms of them. Like with the character designs, they all look really good. I mean, no, but you guys can chime in on this. Like, what like certain characters stick out? What?
We've seen these type of characters before, like this kind of art of the characters before, like Rocket with the beard and all of that.
No, that's something I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like Rocket with the Beard. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I just think it looks terrible. No, it's terrible.
What about Gamora? Actually, Drax, Gamora, they all look quite different from what we've seen.
Me personally, I feel like every other Guardians member looks good because of the fact that I like that they're taking stuff from comics, but they're also adding in new elements that are not from comics, like Rocket with the beard. And if you guys noticed, with the beads on his beard, he has like a little Groot bead on there. Yeah, even the Guardians of the Galaxy game Twitter even acknowledged that. It's like, yeah, that's a thing we added. But to me, but I feel like what I like is that the diversity in terms of how they look is so different. Even with Drax, it's not. He doesn't have tattoos, those red tattoos. It's like this weird kind of pattern that's going on, and like like those little like red kind of streaks that are coming off of the pattern. But there's also stuff that's open, so it's that weird kind of patternization they do with the character, which I like. But I feel like maybe this is the character I'm really conflicted with. Out of all the Guardians members, Peter Quill's Star Lord is not the one I'm kind of sold on. Like I like his design, but at the same time, it's a character I feel like they could have taken more liberties with and made him more distinct and different. Because I feel like each Guardian is distinct and different and doesn't look like their movie counterpart. But with Quill, he has that. He kind of is. If you think about it, it's a bit more of a nuance and a bit more of a stylized version.
I do like his mask as well with the holographic lenses, that kind of thing. I think that's done really well. I do like that.
Yeah, I like the holographic lenses. Like, because I kind of, even in terms of, like the costumes and stuff, like like how, I guess I'm going off of like, because the only kind of mainstream like in terms of media we've all seen Guardians in maybe I'm not sure about you guys, but it's in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and I would also say the MCU counterpart as well, like with Chris Pratt and everything. In terms of the costume design, it's really different.
I
Like,
think I've said this about Avengers before, but like it's really hard to follow in the footsteps of like a already huge media platform such as Avengers. You've got to like, what are you going to do? You can't. If you stray too much from it, people are going to complain. But if you stay too close, people are going to go like, "That's just MCU."
yeah, and I think that's also I think there's two sides to this. It's where it's how it. I think to that is the MCU has been so ingrained in terms of mainstream media. We view them the certain way because we've been brought up that certain way by the Marvel movies. So we've been like, oh, that's how they look, and that's how we see them. You know what I mean? But there's also the fact that, in my opinion, Spider-Man PS4 is the best game in terms of the Marvel, like in terms of Marvel games so far that's been able to meet the middle ground, where it's an amalgam of every Spider-Man element from movies, TV, and even like from like even other types of media, like video games.
Oh, definitely. Like they had the. I mean, I'm going to pretend that they did not replace what Peter looks like because he was perfect before, and they just had to ruin it.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a little interesting.
Original one, they really put some time and effort into it because he's an older Spider-Man. He's had some years, and it definitely shows. And that's not just the main character one. You've got everything, so it's definitely interesting to see how they take the path because it's another thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Is it going to be like them starting out? Is it like their first mission? Is it like their 100th mission, or is it their 1,000th mission? What is Gamora and Star-Lord's relationship? That kind of thing.
But yeah, I think to contribute to that, which I think I like certain stories where there's already an established universe, but we're going into it for the first time and we're knowing the lore through our POV main character who's experienced it all. But for us, it's so new. And I also think that contributes to the originality that Spider-Man PS4 has done, where Peter Parker's been like doing been a Spider-Man for 8 years, so he's already experienced. So he knows certain stuff, so he knows what to do, how to do it. But I also like that they keep a sense of originality, but they add a kind of modern twist to them. I think that goes. Yeah, I think that my point would be contributing to both your points is that from what I've heard and what the people behind this, even they had a comic book writer from who did some Guardians comics who's been saying that we pulled from every source material. We try to bring in some like deep cut characters and villains and all that sort of stuff. And I think, and this is what if I'm not mistaken, the Guardians of the Galaxy game Twitter has sorry about that noise has come out and said is that the Guardians have been together for less than a year now. So that's the kind of timeline.
Oh, is that the game? Oh, that's the time frame. All right, okay.
So it's a bit of a recent, yeah. So it's like the team that's still like they got together, but they're still not like kind of neck and neck. I guess okay. So any like this like maybe for me, all I like is that though for me, Peter Quill is pretty much the character I'm really on the fence with because I feel like they could have gone liberties with his character, like. If you guys had seen it like in the ending of the video or something like that they have like these pre-order now to get these costumes for your characters.
That's not a good sign.
Don't pre-order the game, damn it. but there are certain costumes me personally, I really wish they'd gone for that blue red uniforms for all the characters because this was before I watched it and I had this preconceived notion that okay, maybe this is what they'll look like. Because that's how I know them from the comics. Because I feel like a game like this, if you lean too much into the movies, like, and you're doing like an offshoot face of the characters, and it doesn't fit. Go for something original. Like at least try put your water in, like test the waters, right? Like, okay, let's try this costume. Is it weird? Is it too like comic book? Like how do we make it fit in? Which they have confirmed that they are going to have multiple outfits spanning from different comic books and especially movie outfits. So you're going to get like your Guardians 1 and 2 outfits and maybe your Volume 3 outfits as well. So
oh, hey, cool. Yeah. This is coming out before the Volume 3 film, right?
yeah, because Volume 3 is supposed to be coming out 2023 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so when does this game come out? It's like end of this year, isn't it?
October. Really? October 21st or 26th.
That means I don't think they can include any stuff from Volume 3 then, because, I mean, it's still, what, 2 years away?
But they probably make a little mini update. I can just see that happening, like a mini update.
Yeah, I can definitely see the update happening, but I don't think they'll.
Do you reckon, really quick, they would do like DLCs that are just the movies, or DLCs that are like? Because you could definitely play with DLCs and do like different storylines, which DLCs are great for that, and that's a later topic for us, which is the Black Panther DLC. But yeah, DLCs are great for that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Yeah. My only worry is that okay, this Guardians game with DLC, are we gonna have a similar Avengers problem where you're gonna have to put it behind a paywall for me to get these outfits? Like if I want to play, because let me tell you this, Avengers game has been trying to profit off of their marketplace, and only recently have they been doing these Endgame movie inspired outfits, and they can only get people's money through there. And if you really want to get that outfit, let's say I want to get Iron Man's Endgame outfit. I have to get a certain amount of secondary units like this in the in-game credits, but I can't unlock that through gameplay. I can only unlock that with I have to pay it.
That's definitely not going to go well for them if they do that.
No, I think they've already kind of screwed up.
That's like my kind of like pet peeve is like, how do you monetize a superhero game correctly? Is kind of like my suggestion is like, how do you monetize your game properly and correctly so that people will play your game in the long run, but not have to pretty much whip out every dollar from their wallet every single day just to get what they want. You should be able to give your players what they want without having to put them behind a paywall.
Not only money, but if you think about it, what it's been. Sorry, like not only money, but if you think about it, it's been what 4 years already. It's been 4 years. That's a lot of time. They're gonna have to pay people, animators, lots of things. They need to find a way to make that back, if not more.
Honestly, I didn't think the Avengers animators or the designers weren't paid enough. Because no offense, I like what Avengers was going for, but I think I see where people went. They went too much, or like this is how you're like they felt really disenfranchised with a certain character. Like Captain America in the Avengers game wore like this military type outfit, which I dug because I feel like it's a modern type of take. Because he's a soldier, so he's like so he's probably wearing like soldier type gear. But when I played Avengers, I'm speaking like as a personal player who's played this and have unlocked various outfits for other characters. It makes me go, wow, why didn't you add this suit as the default suit? Or this suit looks way better than the default one. Why didn't you headline that? Because I feel like, honestly, there's so many outfits in the Avengers game that you can unlock which are 10 times better than the default outfits the game has like tried to market hard on.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really hard for to pick a default because no matter what you're gonna do, people are gonna go, yeah, this looks better. I prefer this. You know, it's hard to pick a design for a character, which is why because we all have different opinions.
Yeah, there's at least gonna be someone to oppose.
Mhm. Me, I think I also want to say I think there's a few like I guess some things that I guess we can get into since we've talked about our more like the more promising elements we find to pretty much pull us into this game. I think we should step into the kind of cautious elements that make us feel a bit iffy about this game. So I guess I'd like to start off with the first one, which is a bit of a shame to me, and I think a bit of a cop out is the fact that this is a single player experience, but it's a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that. That's probably a big thing. The main problem.
I think that's a good thing. I think that it was a good idea, and that they can always add multiplayer later. But I think I think the main thing they've done wrong is that they've made it just available to Peter Quill. You can only play as Star Lord. I think that's a bigger problem than the fact that it's only single player.
Okay, sorry. So, like, if you like think about these type of third person story mode games, it does lend itself to single player. But as George said, the big problem with this is that you can only play as Peter Quill.
So, yeah, can I get another opinion real quick? What did you guys think of like the gameplay of Avengers, like the mechanics and stuff like that? Because there is quite a lot of similarities between them, like with from what you can see from the UI and menus and stuff. It looks almost identical, to be honest.
I would say, okay, for me personally, I'll give Avengers credit. There was layers of moves you can do with like a character as you progress through time. But for me, I think it's just the fact that you don't mainly use everything. You use like a certain hand pick of moves. So like like I'll do like a Captain America move where he punches his shield and it's released this this shockwave, or like this shield slam or whatever. But I don't use the other like hundreds of the other moves that he does. So for me, here, what I feel like is a bit of I guess maybe to contribute to George's point is that maybe it's a good thing because they don't want to make a jumbled multiplayer experience that Avengers has been. But at the same time, like for me, Avengers is a game where it's like you get to play as all the Avengers, but when you go into a mission, you just play as that one Avenger. So it's like, damn, I can't switch out like a hero that I want to play as. It kind of really constrains you to who you have
This
to
is a
be.
little random, but I gotta give props to the Avengers game for at least being quite creative with like their moves and stuff. You know, because I was just listening to you describe about all of Cap's like moves that you use, and like I'm just thinking like that's really cool. Something that you'd want to see in a game, and at least you have the variety of that, and you can find your own fighting style or whatever.
Is that we are constrained to Peter Quill, but we can't. Well, what's the variety in his gameplay? Because we're playing as Peter Quill alone, and our Guardians members, like we've seen in the gameplay, it's like I guess reference would be Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, where when I'm doing a combo, I can call in another person, and they do that exact same combination of the combo, and we like both like do it together.
It's like a combo on a combo.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's pretty much what it is. It's a combo of combos. But the thing about this, because like basically, if you think about all these type of video games, a big thing is that you get to play as your favorite character, right? Now, if you have a game like, say, Jedi Fallen Order, where it's kind of the same third-person story mode, you have one character, so you're kind of forced to be that character. That's fine. But if you have something like Guardians, where there's what, five characters, you might have a favorite that's not Peter Quill, and if you're forced to play as Peter Quill, that could be a massive um con for that game.
Can I quickly just um for the sake of like time, do we kind of want to move on?
Okay, let's just wrap this Guardians Galaxy game up. I think for me personally, and I'll let you two conclude it as well. For me personally, there's some promising elements. There are some cautiously optimistic elements. Let's hope that this is not another like letdown that Avengers was, and let's hope that this is above and beyond, and it has learned the tragic falls, and the real, genuine losses that the Avengers game has made. And let's hope this delivers on a more enjoyable experience and a longer running experience as well.
Yeah, so like from what I've seen, the main drawback for me is that you're only forced to play as Peter Quill. But other than that, it does look pretty promising, quite good.
Right, yeah, sorry about that. Uh, yeah, so overall, I think that it's promising. They've done some things that I don't agree with, and some things that I think will be awesome. So it's interesting to see where they'll go.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see how this is gonna play out, you know?
Now, as we ascended down from space to Earth, we are now sadly going to talk about this controversial realm of entertainment.
Whoa. Wow, so we know Harish's standpoint on this.
We're going to talk about the Black Panther DLC. So I just want to say this. Okay, I'm not sure whether you guys seen the first teaser with that whole Claw voiceover, and then with the Black Panther whole like Avengers with me
Avengers with me.
thing, and then now with this new one. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this. So what are yours first like thoughts? Just anything really.
Right, do you mind if I go first? Because I have something I would like to say. I think that from what I've seen, they're relying too much on the film.
Not much more. I do agree with George. They do look like they're heavily relying on the film, which can be a good thing as well for them. I mean, 'cause that's if you think about it, that's the most like popular thing. But I think they might be relying a little bit too much on it.
Okay, I want to give my end of the spectrum, because I feel like me personally, as an Avengers fan who's known this game, they've had so many fake promises, and they've been like, "Hey, we'll be dropping this DLC this today," but then it'll be like, "Oh no, we're reshuffling that to next week," because of the fact that, keep in mind, Avengers came out like last year with games that have delayed as well, and when they've released, they have not been a finished product of what should have been. Avengers is one of those games as well that has dropped during a time where, when games have delayed and delayed over again, and they finally release, they've not been a good. They've just had a really rocky start, and they've really had a rocky kind of like time, I suppose. So, and keep in mind, I just want to, as an Avengers person who's played the game, your DLC with 2 Archer characters is not really gonna hold the game, because I can tell you right now, the only like I know like the Avengers game has always been like, we'll make our characters distinct and feel different. And that's how they pitch it, right? With Kate and Hawkeye, they're both similar, but what's the difference? I can tell you right now, Clint and Kate Bishop's gameplay, it's almost the same, like on the same level, but it's just the fact that Kate Bishop has like a teleporting move that she can incorporate with other abilities of hers. That's about it.
I do think Avengers has many problems that go beyond the DLCs, but the fact that they've released like hardly any content, the game has been out for almost a year. Actually, well, actually that's not true, but they could have done so much more.
Another thing about this teaser that I was a little bit disappointed about, we didn't get much gameplay.
Thank you! Thank you, Jack. I thank you so much. I was like so hyped. I was like, okay, we're getting cinematics. We're gonna get like, I was like, at least show me how Wakanda is gonna be as a different part of the world, because it's gonna say because it's an expansion and Wakanda is gonna be a new type of hub world.
They've just been hyping up cinematics.
Yeah, they've been hyping it up. They finally released the trailer, and then, I mean, it'd be nice to see some gameplay from that, and they didn't really give that to
Maybe
us.
you guys know about this or maybe not, but they always do these war table events or war table streams to go deep dive into the game or the DLC, and they did one before Hawkeye's DLC released. So I'm saying because they just released this new teaser for the Black Panther DLC. My only question is, you guys only announced on your Twitter only after the stream that okay, Black Panther's coming out on August 2021. When during the Square Enix Presents stream, they had their roadmap, and for the other characters or the other type of stuff that they're going to add into the DLC, they only just showed. They didn't give a date, so they didn't even made any information public about any DLC. Yeah,
Well, I think definitely a problem with Square Enix's marketing schemes. They're like, yeah, look at this, look at these flashy lights, look at Black Panther, he's looking so cool with the suit. Look at Claw with his weapon and everything. Oh my god, he's so cool. And then yeah, there's no gameplay at all.
Exactly. We didn't get any game footage from the Wakanda hub as well. I feel like they could definitely have done more with that.
Yeah, all they're doing at the moment is going, yeah, tune up. We might show you something. We might not. You'll see.
at least said after that teaser, hey, tune in next week or in 2 weeks' time for a war table on the War for Wakanda, where you can get to see gameplay, costume variety, and just story stuff at least. But they didn't. You costume story. They could have at least shown some Black Panther gameplay where you could see what he does, how he fights, or how he does his traversal. And they could have maybe how in the war table they do a transition of the different suits for characters. They could have at least shown some Black Panther suits, like his default, maybe a Black Panther, maybe even an MCU Black Panther suit that you guys can get later on. And that's the thing I mean. They're just really not being forward. And I think another point to contribute to that is I do agree with your points that they are chiming on the success of the Black Panther movie in terms of that kind of that imagery where they're doing the whole throne, that whole throne shot, and him being king and stuff. You know what I mean? And even doing Shuri, lingerie and stuff, and even Claw being modeled after. I forgot he's Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis.
Yeah, that's another thing. They've literally taken the Black Panther movie and they've copy and pasted the villain in.
Everything in Black Panther, but just done a bad makeup on it. But I feel like this trailer does a disservice. It's because of the fact that they also showed robot spiders, and the developers have been hyping up. We're gonna get new enemy types. So I'm like, robot spiders is a new enemy type when your game when it first launched, it only comprised of AIM soldiers, 10% AIM soldiers and 90% of different AIM robots. That's not variety. That's not even why were you hyping up such a big thing?
You've got one new enemy type.
They confirmed that this is going to be August of this year.
August? Yeah.
We'll see, because I'll give you my thoughts on it, because I'll be frank. Kate Bishop's DLC was alright. Hawkeye's DLC was so upsetting to me because it took me an actual day to I kid you not, I played it on the day itself it came out, and I finished it on the day, and I was like, what, are you serious? But I'm hoping for the War for Wakanda expansion that they have more hours to flesh out a story, flesh out Wakanda, and at least maybe because from what I've heard, the Avengers supposedly just land into Wakanda, and they're it's a new place as well for them. So where the hell is this place and all that? So
they definitely lost it. Didn't they lose 90% of their player base after a week?
That's another thing for me is that I think the reason why they're chiming off of that kind of Black Panther movie type stuff is because of the fact that what's it? Because I feel like they're really trying to find a way to bring back players in. I will say the voice acting was decent though, because apparently it's the voice actor who played Kratos in the PS4 God of War. So I was because I'm really used to his voice being so deep, but he just sounds normal, and I was like, it's a bit off-putting, but at the same time, that's kind of Black Panther. I guess that's T'Challa. He's very not so really aggressive, that much of a type of guy. He's a calm king.
Yeah, I must say I did like the voice acting. I did quite like it.
I will say this: Avengers has some solid voice actors, but like I'm worried they get these solid voice actors, but when in the game they make them do these like blatant bad jokes and these corny one-liners when you're playing the game.
I hate that so much. You're like playing something and they go like da 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 da, and they're so bad.
Yeah. In Ultimate Alliance 3, they do that a lot. They have these like maybe like 5 lines or something that they assign different to each character, and then just randomly they'll say it, and that kind of kills it for me. I really hope that they don't do that.
Before, let's just give our overall concluding thoughts on this. So I guess we'll take it for someone else. I'll give it to someone else this time. Whoever wants to take the mic first.
So I think it's just they've literally copy and pasted Black Panther. They've done terrible marketing, and I hope it's good. But my overall thoughts are it's going to be terrible.
The best word to sum up this Avengers game, because on Twitter they don't even advertise, like they don't even like publish or tweet anything about anything new coming up. It's just like, hey guys, get this new costume in the marketplace that like is so stupid and didn't even do anything. Like get Thor in a flannel shirt. Like I don't want Thor in a flannel shirt. I want Thor in a comic book outfit or a cool outfit.
So they announced the first teaser. They put out the first teaser trailer 2 months ago. We have 2 months until they put out the DLC, and we still haven't seen any form of gameplay footage or anything about the costumes. Man, they definitely could have done more with this teaser.
I guess onto me. Your Square Enix, get the hell up. This is a game. I mean, okay, I will say this. They were going to announce Black Panther like last year, I think, but it was because of the whole passing of Chadwick Boseman. They altered it and they showed off Kate Bishop, and that's why things have been that way. Black Panther's a big character, so what other characters after that are you going to be able to bring in that are big names and able to keep your game going? Because I've heard after Black Panther, Spider-Man's the next character, and I'm like, that is stupid. No offense, because I feel like you're just bringing out the big boys too early, and then every character after that is just going to be an afterthought.
They're trying to revitalize something that's it's too far gone.
Honestly, I guess a weird analogy to put would say they're trying to do CPR on a dead corpse.
That's an interesting analogy, but accurate.
All right, I guess. All right, so we're on to our next topic, which
Just a little wrap up one. Yeah.
if you were to give in a Marvel or DC game or any superhero game, what IP would you want to be?
There's definitely a few ideas that I have, but do you guys know Unreal Engine 5? So anyway, it's really cool. But this guy released this thing on Reddit, and it was like a demo he'd been playing with of the Superman game, and it was really cool. Yeah, and it made me think that would be really cool because one of the last Superman games we got was Superman 64, and that was so bad. We need an update, and I think it'll be done so well. Another option, I think, like a story-based Flash game would be really cool.
They tried to make a Flash game. I remembered seeing gameplay for that canceled Flash game, and it looked good. Like when you were fighting, it was like in slow motion, but you were like in real time. So like you were like delivering punches, delivering sonic punches as well. Like these.
You see, that would be so cool.
Any other IPs?
Well, anyway, I'll pass it on to the microphone onto Jack because no, I have nothing else.
Yeah, no, I don't really have too many ideas, but now that George has said it, like a story-based Flash game sounds like it could be amazing. But other than that, not really much for me, Harish.
I guess a few of mine I would like is I think a Punisher game done by Naughty Dog would be amazing because Neil Druckmann, the creative director on Naughty Dog, who's done Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Last of Us Part 2, when someone tweeted at him what IPs would you like to do, one of the IPs that he listed was Ghost Rider and Punisher. Although Ghost Rider is a bit like D-list, like E-list kind of a Marvel character, I feel like with a character like Punisher and with that Last of Us gameplay and like that gritty, awesome story, because like what I think a good Punisher story would be is that maybe we pick up with Punisher who's early in his Punisher days, or maybe he's still grieving over the death of his family. Because if you all don't know the story, Punisher was like a war veteran. He was a soldier. So one day he takes out his family, and they're all having a good time until a gang war erupts in the middle, and his family just happens to be in the middle of it, and they die. And he don't like that, so he goes kills every gang member in New York. So I think a story-based game on that, maybe it could deal with maybe his PTSD, perhaps being as a soldier, and how that maybe contributes to his violence. Because I feel like with Naughty Dog, they're able to go with that really philosophical and deep-rooted stories, like not with Uncharted, because Uncharted is like your swashbuckling adventure, your modern Indiana Jones, I guess, like your modern Indiana Jones with like big set pieces that are akin to Mission Impossible. Whereas with like Last of Us, it's a really deep-rooted story with characters. So that'll be one of the games I think would make a pretty good Marvel game. A small, maybe I always thought about this, not a necessarily open world, maybe a more contained realm, like in Hell's Kitchen. If you don't know where that is the location of a particular vigilante known as Daredevil. I feel like a Daredevil game would be cool because like maybe everybody will call me out on this. It would just be a carbon copy of Arkham, but let's all admit that Spider-Man is also a carbon copy of Batman Arkham series in terms of combat and stuff. But I also like it because of the fact that they can use elements like when you press like the lower D-pad, it activates his detective vision. How about when you press the lower D-pad for Daredevil, it activates his heightened senses where you see like maybe there's a red world around you.
It's a cool concept and idea, but I think it would be a little like, how exactly would you keep things interesting for the player if Daredevil's blind?
His rogues gallery just spans like so much with so many characters. Maybe do a contained story where, and I like with Spider-Man PS4 is that they were able to create a more shared universe where there were Easter eggs to like Daredevil because Peter Parker in Spider-Man PS4 can collect backpacks and they're all like Easter eggs and nods. And one of the backpacks he collects, it has a card for Foggy, Murdoch, and Lawson. He tells and in Spider-Man PS4, he tells the story that this blind guy gave him his lawyer's card if Spider-Man ever needed a lawyer. And then he goes, if he was blind, how did they know I was Spider-Man? So I was like, that's nice.
I thought it was such a cool little Easter egg.
If the Daredevil game pans out, maybe a cameo by Punisher. Maybe you're doing a side mission and turns out one of the persons you're about to catch, he's shot dead on the spot. You chase after whoever is the shooter, and turns out it's like Punisher. So you have this like maybe close quarters QTE fight. Well, I guess my last one would be from a different property. It's from DC. I think a Green Lantern game would work. Why I think it could work? Because we could explore different planets, and I also think the move sets with your characters would be so diverse. Because like maybe if it's like triangle, square, X, it makes like I don't know, like this like arm cannon, or like maybe I get like a Gatling gun or something like that. So yeah, it will just be like a combination of moves, but also you get to explore different galaxies, do different side missions and quests and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, cool! Yeah, that would be really cool. And then you could make it kind of like how in the Spider-Man game, it's kind of open world and you move to the mission, But like in the galaxy, in space, that could be really cool.
I think we could do a wrap there, no?
Yes. Thank you for listening to us rant like a bunch of kids.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome to do. Thanks for anyone who had the time to listen to that.
That was fun to do.
No, but really though, thank you all so much for watching this. It really means a lot, and please help support us. We're just starting off, and we really would like to do more of this. If you really appreciate it, please give a like and subscribe to keep this channel going further. I'm Harish, that is George, and this is Jack, and thank you so much for discussing with us.